Angela Bakke from CELEBS.com. Colleen Atwood, so nice to talk to you. Thank you for talking to us today.
Sure.
So after 9 Academy Award nominations, 3 wins, it's pretty safe to say that you are setting the bar in your craft. What's your process to your projects?
Well, the process begins with the screenplay and meeting the director. The research process is next, although it's been compressed in the climate of today's production because it's so fast that I sort of start research, fabric shopping, and design at the same time, so it sort of overlaps. So I start very intensely on a project, just kind of pounding away, trying to get as many ideas and as much information into my brain as I can at the start. And then, you go into manufacturing, fitting, and all those phases of the process.
And does it change as you meet the actors and see them in character? Or is it all based on the page?
Well, it depends. Sometimes in the beginning you know who the actors are, and sometimes you don't. So the research itself doesn't change. That process stays the same pretty much in the script. When you actually get into envisioning what the principal costumes are for a film, definitely who wears them has an impact on it. So what I try to do is talk to the actors right away, see what they're thinking, show them what I have in research and what the idea for the whole movie looks like, so the world they're living in is part of it, so it's all integrated in the first meeting.
Oh, interesting. So I saw an interview with Charlize Theron where she said the costumes were actually more damaging than the fight scenes because these were so heavy and intricate. How is that for you? Is it a delicate balance to create your vision but then also, give them something they can wear? What's that like for you?
It's part of the process. I developed the Army's costumes with a stuntman, so I knew it would work for the stunt process that you do in the film. When you do a suit of armor, there's always going to be things that don't work about it for a stunt. But generally, you try to get all the glitches out in the beginning. With Charlize's final costume, which is a battle costume, it's not here behind us, but the pieces that are heavy snap off. So if from the waist down, you're not going to see her. The front panel snaps off, so it's a lighter weight costume and easier to move in. The action costumes all have stretch panels and things in them. Kristen also did a lot of action, and Chris in their costumes. And I pretty much incorporate from the beginning elements of stretch and stuff in the costumes that I know are going to have to work for that.
Interesting. It's like a scientific approach.
No, it's very technical. I did a long time ago Planet of the Apes, so I had a good lesson on that movie and what works. And then I did Chicago right after that, which the musical films with the dancers, who are phenomenal athletes, their costumes have to work, and they have to work then, and they have to work for a huge amount of action. So between all those, combining that, by the time I get to this movie, I've sort of sorted out a lot of issues.
Now let's talk about Chris Hemsworth's, the Huntsman's costume. The assumption is that because it's a man's costume, it's very simple, but the more I look at it, there's a lot of detailing, even a man's costume.
There is, to me, a costume's a costume, whether it's on a man or a woman. It's just, the idea with Chris's costume is that it's something he could have made himself, that he had something, and he kind of keeps putting stuff together as he lives in the woods. So it's got a very craft-oriented vibe to it, and sort of heavy man-like stitching, and it's a very functional kind of costume.
And my last question is, what impact do you see that the film costuming industry has on the fashion industry, and how have you seen that change?
Well, I think that fashion designers and artists in general kind of love watching movies, and I think they always have. And I think, sometimes people like Adrian and some of the great Hollywood designers did clothing, Irene and Adrian being the most obvious ones. But there's always been a kind of communication between the two and an interchange of ideas, I think. Even a long time ago, it's just, how the influence with the media in the middle of it, pushes one over the other. It sort of gets blurry nowadays. And the other thing is that when new books come out, new things come out, we're all looking at we're all drinking from the same well. So I think that, it ends up kind of cross-pollinating.
Yes.